new parent alert, and this comes with a strong warning. What you're about to see is very disturbing. But parents, we've got to warn you about this video game because your kids could get their hands on it. It depicts rape. It's graphic. We had to censor it. And that's the whole object of this game. Corner and rape a woman. Choose the method of assault. It's set even to read off those details. And believe me, we've censored a lot here. Now, you can't get this in stores anymore anyway, or at least it was online. Kids, they can still download it. So that's why we got to get to the bottom of this. How easy is it for our kids to possibly get their hands on this stuff? Join me to talk about this, Cheryl Olson, co-author of the book, Grand Theft Childhood, the surprising truth about violent video games and what parents can do. Cheryl, thanks for being with us. Let's hit it with that first question. A game like this, how easy is it for a kid to download it and play something that's just so sick and violent?
One of my concerns is that kids generally never hear about this stuff unless it gets this kind of publicity, unfortunately. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, they had this hot coffee scandal with Grand Theft Auto where there was a crude animated sex scene that was uncovered by some hackers. And very few people had heard about it until a few politicians and pundits started publicizing it and how terrible it was for our kids. And suddenly thousands of people were downloading it. So it's the kind of thing that most kids are never going to run across, and you have to have some skill to download it. It's very crudely drawn. There's no genitalia shown.
No, okay. So, and we hope you're right, that kids won't get their hands on it. But let's talk about, I think this awakens a lot of parents to any violent video game, even if it's not to this degree. What does this do to our kids when they're playing the war games and it's just graphic and it's violence over and over again?
I think all parents nowadays are worried about it because we've had concerns about media violence and content ever since the paperback novel and the gangster film. But one thing that's different now is that if you're concerned about a DVD, you can fast forward through it. If you're concerned about a game and you don't know how to play, how to use the controls, you don't know what's in there. Mm-hmm. And so now I did research on middle school age kids on the use of video games, and especially looking at violent content and the influence. We found, first of all, that it's normal nowadays for especially boys to be playing these games once in a while, and pretty much everything that we worry about, violence and crime, is down rather than up. Now, this doesn't mean an individual child could not be badly affected, but the typical child, it's something that they do once in a while with their friends. The content is not. It's
moderation, right, Cheryl? It's got to be moderation. You got to,
yes,
set the clock and stick to it, right? As a parent,
right? I mean, what I tell parents is, look, we don't want in this country censorship where someone's trying to figure out, well, what's violent, what's not, what can my kids see, and going down that slope. That's not the American way. But what we do need is to inform people. And the big thing parents should do is get the game system, the computer, the TV, and the cell phone at night out of the kid's bedroom. Yep. Because if you've got that in a common area of the house, you can walk by and see what's going on. If you have concern, you can say, gee, you really seem into that game, and I know you're a good kid, and so there's got to be something to it.
Okay, Cheryl, we got to run. Thanks again for your time. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.